I'm on the wrong thing already. Welcome in, everybody. We are going to be talking today about the lunar eclipse in Virgo. Now, eclipses in this eclipse season, the intensity that you're feeling right now is not for naught. The emphasis of the feelings you're feeling right now is not for no reason. There's a very powerful undoing and reimagining that happens every eclipse season for all of us. This particular lunar eclipse is special because we're entering into a brand new paradigm. We're really in the axis of dreams and reality when it comes to this Virgo and Pisces axis, especially with the North Node here in Pisces and the South Node being in Virgo. And as a matter of fact, this full moon is going to be activating the South Node on a collective scale. Now, I haven't done a full briefing on the South Node. I will probably actually do a personalized class for that later on. But the South Node represents the past life in astrology. It represents the karma, the karmatic ties that we have, the cycles that we are all a part of in the grand scheme of things. And one thing that I really want to kind of break down when it does come to this information, when it does come to this upcoming vibe, is that there is a clearing out or a clearing house that's supposed to be happening in your world right now. Venus retrograde is making it so people are having to finally see the value within themselves, even though other people may not be congratulating you, right? If you have been working towards something and you've been overthinking it, or you've been trying to see, oh, where do I fit in this in the grand scale of things, right? What this eclipse season is really trying to have all of us do is remember that despite there being the louder noise of the world around us, despite the need or the capacity or the feeling to like fit within the box that someone's trying to present to you, this lunar eclipse actually wants us to trust in our own power. It wants us to trust in our own feeling of divinity, right? Now, let's explain the axis that's going on in terms of these energetics, right? Because we're in Pisces season. Pisces season is the hardest season to get up and do things, right? Why? Because Pisces is the dreamy, the sleepy, the imaginative, the creative, right? The dream world in and of itself in motion has a lot to do with your feelings. There's a lot of science that talks about the combination between like dreams, memories, and feelings. Like all of those things have a very strong correlation to one another. And when we start to talk about those things seem like tend to seem or feel more mysterious. It's like we don't have all the information. We don't have all the details, right? Which is why on the other side of Pisces, we actually have Virgo, because Virgo typically has an answer to most things on the side of Pisces, divine side, right? Now, Virgo, let's explain this. Virgo is the earth sign, and the reason why the details between things can go from you landing that job that you want and you forgetting to cross a T in your name, and next thing you know, you don't get the thing that you're looking for, right? One of the things that I kind of want to point out to this though is that the Virgo vibration here, in combination to the South Node, if you've seen just in the last few months, right, there has been a huge influx of older things starting to come back, right? I saw something earlier, which made me laugh. It was on by Conscious Lee, if I'm not mistaken. I like watching his material, so shout out to him. If you ever want me on Conscious Lee, you let me know. I feel like we could have a really interesting conversation about the intersectionality between the African American plight and astrology, how it belongs to the our ancestors. But we could have that conversation some other time. What I can say though in terms of this, right? He pointed something out, and he's like, when the when even the white ladies who thought that they were going to get benefit from the DEI thing that was happening in the world, or at least in the US, but actually they're screwed too. And I think it's an interesting combination because like they're really on a grand scale, as we've been seeing, trying to bring back really old control structures, really old mindsets on things, really like outdated things that like we thought as a society maybe we've outgrown, right? Now there's a need for everyone else in this capacity, in the stepping in your power of it all, right? And in the stepping in the power of it all is that you need to remember how it is that you feel. What I think the lunar eclipse in Virgo really wants to show people is that despite the world, we are still sovereign beings. You are an individual soul who came here to serve a specific task, enjoy life in the world around, and then come back to report to your soul fam, to the universe at large. You know, when we think about it that way, it's like, oh, well, what makes me so special, right? And Virgo is also, to be so fair, a sign that is typically associated with servitude. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be subservient, but servitude, meaning I want to be of service. I want to help things out. I want to fix that thing in between. And even if a Virgo doesn't want to fix the thing, they're the ones that have to deal with the thing that has to get fixed typically. That is the role that the Virgoian energy plays, right? Which is why sometimes they can get a little bit more snarky about things because they have to fix everyone else's problems, right? But the reason why I want to point this out in general, right? We really have a brand new take on where do we want our personal worlds to go. I had a really great conversation the other day with somebody, and they were previously in the military service, and we were talking about like technology, how the world really works, and things along the lines of that, right? And the main thing that we were trying to really break down is that the powers that be, to like the 1%, the people that we don't even know in terms of like how the world moves, they look at the world in a very different space than how we might look at the world, right? The best example that we had of this is that if all of us got together and we're like, hey, we're taking a school bus and we're going to go see the top of the Hollywood sign, right? We would all go to the top of the Hollywood sign, right? The Pisces, oh, the dreams, wow, look at all this thing, wow, the movies, whoa, right? Like the all of those feelings, right? Now, granted, it's still cool, don't get me wrong, but like that's the feeling of it. Word. Then we get to the next part, and the next part of this, after that, there's this new. Like we get to, let's say we get to the top. Like I was just saying, we get to the top of it. We're looking at it. Everything's beautiful. We're looking at the city. Wow, how amazing. Sunset. Magnifique. But if somebody in that 1% or somebody in that other space, right, that ruling class, so to speak, goes and does the same exact thing, where we might be seeing like that and have like some type of inner feeling of hope and inspiration, and maybe we're like, we feel the dream happen. They don't see the dream. They see the detail. They say, hey, who owns that part over there? I'm going to buy this. Hey, what's this other thing? I want to take this part over. Oh, no one has this thing already checked off? Well, this is going to be my thing now. Like there's a very different look and take of this, right? And the reason why I want to point this out in general is because there's a big difference between perception and perspective. Right? Now, your perception of life is your world. The things that you perceive in your day to day, right, is like part of your world, right? Maybe part of your perception in the world is you come watch Maverick when I go live, or you watch it afterward and you come through and everything else like that. You always do that, right? In your perception, you might have a different sense of hope, let's say, than some other people that you deal with on a day-to-day based off of the astrology I might break down, right? Now, this is because like this is like my personal perspective, or I would say The best way to explain this is that this is like one small part of things. Whereas the larger sum of the world in the real world, things are not cute. They're not peachy. It's not pretty. It's not always the most great thing. And how can we know this? Have you turned on the television? I don't watch everything day in by day in by day in, because guess what? Too much information, too much details. There's too much fear being pumped out into the world right now. And part of that fear, and the reason why they're like so kind of gung-ho on making sure that people do know about stuff that sounds so horrifying and do know all these things are going on, is because of that South Node Virgo. So the South Node Virgo at its worst is the true and utter sense of pessimism. It's the feeling that there's nothing on the other side of all the work. And that's the lowest vibration of that South Node as a collective, right? And when people feel like they can't achieve their dreams, they usually do as what the kids or the YNs would say nowadays, crash out. So how can we prevent this? How can we get out of this feeling? Because we're all feeling it in a different way. And by the lunar eclipse in Virgo, you're going to see that open up more. You're going to see more of those details start to come about. You're going to see more people overthink their own value in this world. And one thing that I want to point out to you is that if you utilize these eclipses correctly, there's never a time where the universe isn't trying to conspire for you. But if you're willing to try to hold on to everything because your ego says, I can't change this thing, that's where the eclipses start to screw you over. So one thing that I want to point out about eclipse season, I'm usually all about the manifestations of the new moon and about the releases of the full moon. And that's always what I like kind of try to do and highlight when I come on live and explain these things, right? However, when it comes to eclipse seasons, it is always best to let your higher self take the reign. It's always best to like let go and let the universe, because like you don't know better. Like to be so fair, during eclipse season, you don't know better. There's higher energies that are spiking out all across the world, right? You might even be seeing someone who doesn't believe in any type of spirituality, but they just have a certain aura about them right now. Like, and you're just like, oh, there's something different with you. For all you know, they're tapping into that thing in a way different capacity than you, because you know, you have been doing the work. You come watch my stuff. You watch other people's stuff. You do your own like background research. You're probably looking everything else up on your own as well, right? This is where this lunar eclipse, to give you some perspective, the biggest part to this whole thing is if you let go of how it's supposed to go, everything goes the way you want it to go. I'm gonna say this one more time. If you let go of how you think it's supposed to go, everything is going to happen the way you actually want it to go by terms of your feeling. Okay. Now, eclipses are intense. This is a big old full moon in the most magical season that we have every year. We're in the closing chapter season, as a matter of fact. This is the release of the astrological year. So 2025 doesn't start truly until a few weeks from now. So we haven't even gotten done with this last year, right? We'd be celebrating New Year's. No, we are celebrating Capricorn season remediation day. Hey, where did I screw up? Let me get this right. That's what a New Year's resolution actually is. Oh, I've been messing this up all year. Maybe I should start now. And that's the reason why most people fizzle out before March. Why? Because it's not the new year, right? So how do we use this lunar eclipse to our advantage? Well, I have a few things, right? First and foremost, actually, I totally forgot to set this up. One sec, y'all. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So first things first, if you've never signed up for my newsletter, what are you doing? I know that I am a true yapper and I go live and I speak for hours at a time. I'm actually going to try to make this one short today because I'm just wanted to really get this point across. I really want to get this point home today and then do the mini readings, honestly. So I'm not going to be on for super long. I want this to be more impactful than anything else. And this on this newsletter, right? I just do my best to explain what's going on. I know some of y'all are visual, some of y'all are audio, but this is the latest and greatest that we have, right? So, utilizing all the material, that's that. Also, for anybody who does want to end up getting a reading coming through, I have the lunar eclipse pull. I think I have one more person from the last one for the Venus retrograde that I didn't end up getting to yet because my work week got crazy, but I do have you on the lunar eclipse one as well as the Venus retrograde. So if I ever do have a true ADHD moment, just let y'all know I always got that. You know what I'm saying? But snapped on the Venus retrograde letter. Good look. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that so much in the feedback because like even myself, I've been feeling this eclipse energies. There's going to be a lot of change coming through for me. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of things changing in terms of this and the channel because like, and to be so transparent with you all, I don't know if y'all noticed, to be real, I haven't made a meme in months, right? And it's funny or it's interesting to me because when I stop making them, I slowly see a lot of the other steam of people who were perhaps doing something similar or watching as I do. I just seen the steam just slowly go down. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I am getting into a place where I'm really getting more to my legacy. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. Part of why I also got really quiet in terms of this thing, aside from me just working my day-to-day jobs and like, the projects that I do, was because I was like, readings and reading for people is really what I'm best at. And in the last few months, I've actually taken on 5 different people pretty much long term in terms of like we've done multiple sessions. Shout out Heather's one of them, you know what I'm saying? One of my bright and shining students. We've been doing a back and forth one-on-one astrological transformation. So she's been learning how to become an astrologer herself, you know what I'm saying? She is immaculate. She literally just helped save someone's life not too long ago, and I don't want to get all into your info about this. She helped save someone's life, and then she ended up referencing the astrology that she learned as that was happening. And so when she told me this back, and feel free to comment a little bit about it if you want, Heather. If not, that's perfectly fine. I at least want to put that. But I was just so proud and like shell shocked that all of that happened, because I'm like, yo, like having that reference in something so critical and something that needs so much timing and everything else like that, and you knowing your chart and referring back to it and then being successful and finding like a greater meaning to this thing, that's what I do is really about. Because what I really do is about the energetics of astrology. I can give a damn about your personality, right? Because like it's really the energies of how the world work, right? This is just the lens that I feel like, is best to explain these things. So I'm slowly, even the one of my other people, I don't know if she's here right now, she's actually just got engaged, right? So when she first came through, she was like, hey, I don't know what life is, I don't know my chart. We ended up doing the chart, we met for a few sessions, and now it's like, oh, she's getting engaged to like one of the most loving men ever just by her tapping back into her energy, knowing her astrology, right? Shout out Randall. I don't know if you're in here, Randall. Randall ended up going from, hey, I know some spiritual stuff, I know some background, and I want to like really step into my magic, into my power and divine feminine. And we had a conversation the other day, and she was like, throughout our sessions, I was able to come and just be myself and not have my guard up, as you were able to like kind of stand in that divine masculine and help like match the energy so we can keep things going forward. And I'm so proud of her because like, she ended up going from, again, I really just want to get into this and know what's going on. And now she's like literally doing priestess full rituals in terms of like everything. She has her group of people. She just has some matriarchs take her under her wing and teach her some more that I could never get to, because that's not where my information comes from. It's like, it's so beautiful to just like watch people grow. So I feel like things are like my information and the stuff that I've been doing has been honestly like kind of transcending just a regular birth chart reading in the last bit. So I'm really excited to see what this ends up turning into, to see where it ends up going. And as I'm explaining this, I think one thing I want to point out, I didn't say no details about how this was going to go. I didn't give you no timeline. I didn't give you no specific dates. I didn't give you no information in between. Why? Because I'm still feeling all those things through. And if you're in this situation where you're like, I want to go, but nothing's moving right now, Venus is trying to put your heart in the right space. And by the time Venus goes direct in April, you probably will have a lot better understanding of how you want to get into these things. But right now, this is the eclipse season. Right now, this is surrender season. Right now, you're just feeling the things through. Right? And I thank each and every one of y'all for popping up and giving this reflection back to me in this regard, right? Sometimes I get really caught up in the same head of the same, 15-year-old who was reading every astrology thing ever and just being like, maybe someday someone will understand this stuff. And now I'm like an odd 13 years later, and it's like, I'm him in this shit for real. I'm not like there's a lot of fake stuff in this field. I'm not with it. And I want to just make sure that we really get down into the true nature of ourselves with this astrology. Like, this is not no pop astrology. This is the age of Aquarius astrology. This is like literally like I have been setting enough up to teach the future versus trying to teach the past, right? We're in a different paradigm. And I think this eclipse season is trying to show us the details of like, the details that used to be the same way are not the same anymore, right? People used to have systems that were set up that they knew that they could rely on. How many people in this country, as of the US, right, have lost their jobs or have had their jobs in scrutiny that they knew that they were going to have for their entire life, all taken away within the last couple months? And I think one of the major frustrations about those situations is because people are like, I was working so hard at something I didn't even want to do, and then they screwed me over because of it. And this is what kind of leads me back into this understanding of this eclipse. You need to feel through what it is that you really desire. This eclipse season wants to open you up to different possibilities towards where your heart wants to go, right? If Venus was direct, I would be like, do this specific thing, but it's retrograde. So Venus is having to go within. The understanding and all the love you want to push out into the world. How are you going to do that if you can't fully love yourself? And I know we talk about loving ourselves, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I live in LA. A lot of times people be like, oh, I love myself, self-care. Like, no, that's literally narcissism. Chill out. What I'm saying about legitimately loving yourself, right? It's like, sometimes you got to do the hard thing. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. In the last 2 years of me like doing this work again, I gained weight. I gained a lot of weight. Again, like I gained weight. Y'all can't tell because 1, I'm aesthetically pleasing, and 2, I know how to do stuff like this, right? Where like I've been able to do that. But like, I'm from a family where everybody for the most part is like 300 plus or over 6 feet tall. And as I'm digging into my grown man genes, I also started getting big. I also was working with so many people. I was working in a capacity where I'm like talking to hundreds of people, right? Like literally like listening to the deepest parts of their soul, helping them like open up other things. And I think I just ended up really taking that on for myself. I think a lot of that started latching on to me. To be honest, I wasn't cleansing my energy the proper way. I wasn't, Palo Santoing, and I wasn't doing all the sage stuff that I like really came up doing and stuff like that. I wasn't doing it. And I think that like I got really caught in this cycle where I felt like I was just like a floating head. Felt like I was just a floating head in the last few months, just trying to figure it out. And in true transparency, when all the fires happened in LA and I had to evacuate and such like that, when I came back, I was like, there's so much in my life. Or I have so much like things that I wanted to do or aim for, but I got so caught up in the hoopla of the everyday that I forgot like about me, right? Because it was the first moment that I had in years where I had to like genuinely, like, I was like, all stuff aside, like, I love y'all to pieces, but y'all wasn't going like, Some of y'all did offer, do not get me wrong, right? Love y'all to pieces, but it's like, if that did all go up, and if that did go down the way that said that it might go down, I don't know how that would have impacted me, right? I don't know how I would have, like, honestly even like recovered at that time frame in terms of everything, right? I spent the last few years really building my life like a certain way, and so what I really wanted to point out about all of this is that stress that I had hit like a maximum for me, like, honestly, right? I couldn't do a lot of the things, and, like, depression is real. People be dealing with stuff all the time, and I had to get myself out of it. So, if y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all probably saw I posted like a fitness pic yesterday, and I just put it up, and I was like, yo, like, I had to work back for this for the last few months, like on some crazy man stuff, right? I've been quiet because I've been really doing the shadow work. I've been really doing the self-care that's involved in order for me to actually be a leader in terms of this, and like actually like help you all really gather that. And I promise you, like, I've been clearing up some passageways in order to like let y'all know the real. And I thank y'all for sticking with me and listening to these yaps, because like I really hope these reflects back to you. Like, I hope all of these transits and the things that I'm talking about, I hope everything that I'm speaking on translates back to you. I hope you see how great you are. I hope in whatever capacity you might love my work or look up to me, I hope you see that in yourself, because that's really what I'm trying to do. Because to be honest with you, people who don't and are not on that cannot vibe in my energy. I have a very have a very like, if you could stay in my general aura and then find something I've typically found, I'm like, oh, that means you have like, there's a lot of like light in you. There's a lot of like potentiality. It'd be the people that be hating on me for no reason, where I'm like, that's interesting. And I always hear something about that later. Not to say that I am the only person that has a vibe check, but it's something to say that when you really are living in your authenticity, when you really are living in your power, when you really are doing your best to like remember you and who you are and the factors that made you who you are, you get to stand in your power. You get to stand in your strength. You can stand, and when everyone else is pointing against you, still stand up. And that's something that we're gonna need going on from Pluto and Aquarius and moving on and moving forward. We're in a different world. We're in a different paradigm. Nobody knows what's going to be happening next. Technology's at an all-time high, which is one of our greatest tools and one of our greatest detriments in certain cases as well, because it's not about the technology itself. It's who's wielding the technology, who knows the technology, right? I know there's a lot of people who are like, I'm against this, I'm against AI, I'm against ChatGPT. It's like, well, that's why you're losing your jobs. That's why that's gone. Like, you need to be able to like know what's going on, because the world keeps changing. And I'm not saying to keep staying on the know and lose yourself, right? Some people are getting the exact opposite of all this, where they're like, you know what? Screw this. I'm anti-technology. I'm not even going to touch anything else like that, right? That's one of those situations to also point out, right? That's one of those situations to also really tap into and dive into. So what is this lunar eclipse really about? This lunar eclipse is like, you have to let go of that gunk that is on you, that wasn't put on you in the first place. Like, you didn't put yourself there, right? All of these I was supposed to blank. I wish I should have, could have, would have blank. Oh, if only that is the last thing that you want to feel leaving from this eclipse season. But you want to know how you'll feel that way? If your ego is trying to force every issue during a lunar eclipse, right? If you're like, I'm feeling like I want to do this, and maybe you want to start like critiquing somebody. Maybe you're trying to say something nice to somebody, but then they take it as an insult, and then you take it personally. Like, the lunar eclipse is a very emotive and volatile time. I'm not saying that you can avoid every instance. I'm not saying you can avoid every type of confrontation. That is bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. But what I can say is that when it does come to this full moon of Virgo, what do you want to release that doesn't serve your higher good anymore? What habits do you have that you know don't fit or gel with your mind, right? And most importantly, what accolade do you think someone else can give you that you can't honor within yourself. What accolade can someone give you that you can't just honor within yourself? We have the power to change our vibration. And if you're really good at it at any point, and if you know your astrology, I know Heather's over there talking right now. I haven't gotten into it yet, but like, that'd be the difference of everything. I talk about this a little bit deeper in terms of this lunar eclipse, right? I'm genuinely thinking, and again, I don't have this fully processed yet, but to give y'all some context, I was thinking moving forward in Aries season, I want to not do these same exact live streams. I will still go live. I think I want to do a weekly horoscope, to be honest. So I would still be going live. It'd be like 30 minutes a week or like 45 minutes a week type deal. But I really want to like take almost as much dedication as I do to like my newsletter into my videos, because there's something I've been working on in the last year and a half in the background of 2 years in the background of everything has been all of that. The reason why y'all got all the memes is because I was learning how to do video stuff in the background, and that was the fastest way I could knock something out to give to y'all. That's the truth. Now, did they go viral? For sure. Did I get like 20K followers in a year? You know what I'm saying? We out here. But on the other side of it, really, right? This is where this lunar eclipse, get to decide what doesn't serve you no more. And it's up to you to choose if you want to let it go. Does your ego win or does your soul? I hope your soul does, respectfully. But yeah, that thus far has been the overarching lunar eclipse. I know I ain't see everything that everyone said yet. Let me go back to the beginning of the video right quick. You know what I'm saying? We got 20 people in here right now. Ain't bad. Happy Sunday, everybody. You know what I'm saying? So let me go back real quick. So we got Christic in here. What's good? Venus in Aries in the 12th house. You make sure you watch my Venus retrograde live if you haven't. You'll learn some things in that. Shout out Bia. I got you on the reading by this week, by the way, Bia. So anyone who also signed up for my Moon Mastery, y'all are getting your readings before everybody else. So good job. But but for anyone who does sign up for my Moon Mastery, people might be like, yo, what's the Moon Mastery membership? Blah blah. Well, when people do like to come in and get the live streams here and the mini readings, I usually do them live. I don't get into people's charts like that, but I want to just like give you the quickest answer and the most profound answer I can. When you work with me for like the Moon Mastery, week by week, we are building on the same stuff. I'm in your chart. I'm explaining how your chart's working. I'm explaining how you can manifest. I'm explaining everything else. Like, we're getting into the nitty gritty. So if anybody ever wanted to know, how do I use a new moon? How do I really use a lunar eclipse? How do I do that? Make sure that you tap into the Moon Mastery one. It seems like it's a lot, but usually my mini readings are $30. So literally you're getting like 1.5 readings for like less than that. And you don't have to like double check and be like, did I do that? Did I sign up for it? So just if y'all do want that, you know what I'm saying? That's the best place to do it. And of course, if you want to get a reading from me, you just sign up for a reading like the same way as normal. Also at the top, Stan Store, Chad the Maverick. That's probably changing soon too, because that's just how life goes. But hey, we gotta just embrace it for what it is, right? But yeah. Shout out caffeine. Okay, what's up, Ian? Appreciate you pulling up. I was wondering why the chat felt different today. I was like, wow. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into the readings, right? I'm gonna be going through each and every place. I'm gonna be actually using some of the information that I did in the paid side of my newsletter. So just to let you know, I've been adding more and more to the newsletter, but I'm trying to make sure that I also have things good for our members. And I have a few new founding members that ended up popping through. Y'all really support the crap out of me, yo. Like, I'd be so appreciative, because I think about my astrology career so far, and I'm like, y'all know I really just been doing this like myself, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's really interesting, because I'm just like, this whole time thus far in my astrology career has literally just been off the vibe, off the love, just a guy with a camera and a lot of astrology passion and knowledge, and it's been a really interesting time. So I do appreciate y'all for like always just showing up, and y'all always show up when I need y'all to too. It'd be mad weird. I'd be like, I don't really know. Like, there's this thing that I need, but like, oh, it's too this, or I get into that Virgo mindset, like, oh, this it's so finite, whatever. And then like somebody will come through out of nowhere and be like, hey, let me just order like your full coaching package, and I'm like, wow, like it's like the universe has definitely always had my back with that. You know what I'm saying? Can I do a Lilith mastery in the future? Yes, I actually am going to go back to give everybody context, right? I'm March forward, or correction, April forward. I don't want to say March. April forward, there's going to be a lot of differences here. It's going to be a lot of changes going up. I promise you that. It's going to be really dope. It's going to be really dope. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be things for y'all to like get. There's going to be, there's so much that I've been working on, but I want to launch it in spring because that makes the most sense. So, if you want to support in between that, as I launch these different projects, ideas, and potential collaborations, make sure that you come through and support. Just know that everything that comes through for this channel definitely supports back to y'all, and I do the best in that concept. I do have a Lilith workshop, but like, it's really funny. Let me see one more time. Can your full chart readings be pre-recorded or just over a call? I prefer to do over a call. So I like to meet one-on-one just because we can really break down and get into like a lot of stuff, right? However, if you're really adamant about having a pre-recorded one, we can do that as well. And that's just like conversation, but it's also really fire when we meet together. Like I used to be so honest with y'all, I used to be really nervous. I used to be really like I was really good at astrology, but I was really nervous at like the soft skills of like talking with people. Now it's my favorite thing to do. Like I literally to be able to just tap in with y'all and put like names to faces and be like, yo, like I really do be feeling like all y'all here for real, and like it's dope. You know what I'm saying? We aiming if we wanted to get some more stuff. I want to get some like cool, crazy stuff going down for all of us by like 2026, respectfully. But all in the process, letting the eclipses open up. Sometimes you just gotta just put it there, see what's up. But yeah. I do. I was gonna say I do, but everyone does. Nah, but yeah, that's the differentiation of that. Of course, I make a poop joke as I talk about Virgo. Virgos love speaking on poop jokes. Like I swear. If you go up to any Virgo, go up to the most serious Virgo and tell them a fart joke. I guarantee they're gonna laugh. I know Virgo rules the digestive tract and all that, but I promise you, make any poop jokes, watch, they'll melt. Whoa. Okay. Also, yeah, I'll do it today. Why not? We're in eclipse season. I don't usually read this deck for people. I don't think I have yet, honestly. So this is new. But since we're getting all eclipse-ish and we're getting all close to home, I'm gonna use my deck today. Right. This is one of my archival ones. You know what I'm saying? But shout out the ancestors for real. But let's get into it. So let's start to break this. As the Virgo rising can't confirm, I'm telling y'all, I know. All right, let's get into it though. Let's pull for the first one. Also, for anyone who does want to get a mini reading, definitely tap in right now. This is not going to be one of those 2-hour streams. I'm gonna be honest with you. My energy is not there today, but I want to be able to truly explain this. And I'll do something cute, short form to put up for everybody later on. But like right now, I just want to be like as real as possible. The earth sign energy in me is fully winning today. Just letting y'all know. All right. So what can we expect in general for this lunar eclipse in Virgo? What can we expect in general? What's the vibe? Wow. Amazing. So we have the star card here. Oh, shout out to the holographic. Oh my God. I got to get more cards. I ain't gonna lie. I ended up turning into a tarot guy. I really was trying to avoid it forever, but I've really enjoyed it again. I'm not gonna lie. It's really been fun. It's been really fun. Okay, but let's get into it, right? We have the star card, right? And so when it comes to the star card, you know that like you already are. I think the problem that like people have is that like I believe, right? If you want to get interesting with it, everyone is their own star. In the worlds that we exist in, our personal life is our own solar system. I think everyone has their own solar system. I think everyone has their own star. As above, so below. If it's within, then it ain't without. So, anyway, sorry, brain says stuff sometimes, but gorgeous cards, facts. But when it comes to the star card, right, there is this capacity for you to remember. This isn't something new. This is a remembrance. Again, this isn't something new. You are remembering the power you have, right? You are coming through. B just said that your mom threw out your tarot cards. I found the beef with tarot cards always so funny because it's like, yo, you gonna be mad at somebody for using a deck of playing cards? You know what I'm saying? Like the playing cards? That's wild. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. Anyway, but the reason why the star card is so important is because it's the remembrance of the star you are, not the first time you're seeing it, right? The tower. Now the tower, a lot of people are, oh my God, it's the tower. The tower is also very powerful awakenings, right? If you've ever quote unquote feel like you've ascended, or if you've ever been doing a lot of yoga, you open up the Kundalini, if you've ever really done an astrology reading with me and then afterward everything clicked in your life and you're like, oh my God, like I know who I am again. Wow, that's great. Get a reading, buy a reading, get a reading, get a reading, you should get a reading, you should get a reading, you know, but the clownery is still there a little bit today. But we have the tower though. So this is a great awakening of such. And so for some people, you're gonna be hit with the boom, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like the full understanding and seeing it for the first time. And what's the result of this if done properly? The King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is one of my favorite kings to talk about because if there's any king who knows exactly who he is, it's that king, right? I was actually watching I've been researching some of the greats that have my skin tone and who have done it before me, but I want to do it in a way better than them. But I was watching a interview with I am not, you have to understand this is the ADHD. I'm literally swinging in the chair. It is what it is. But what I can say, right, is that I was watching an interview with about Nipsey Hussle. R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. And I was like, he was talking about his brother, right? And he has a story about his older brother. And from a really young age, he was kind of taught to like, you know, go out and get it. And his older brother was one of the first people in the hood at the time to start burning DVDs for people, like back in the 2000s. And he ended up making like $1 million as like a kid selling like DVDs out of his stuff in the Vaughn's parking lot, right? Different world. But the reason why I mention that is because like whenever I heard that person talk, they had a very just sure foundness of like, I know how to make things happen. So why would I ever lose that advantage of me knowing myself, of me knowing my power, of me seeing the results, right? As one of my favorite things about all anime, like my favorite quotes that has ever been yelled out, is that I'll show you the results of my training. And if you think about it, if you're any sort of dork or nerd or anything else, right, and you've watched anime at some point, all of them folks is training all of the time. And this has a lot to do with stuff, right? But they're training all the time. Like literally. Like there's like if you watch some stuff with Goku, he'll be talking with his wife, doing like upside down arm push-ups, and she'll be like, oh, what is going on? It's like, well, the results of the training is like that's where we kind of transcend stuff, right? Now, one thing I want to point out with this lunar eclipse in Virgo is that there's no way to out maneuver the hustle. Like there's no way to delulu yourself out of the work that's required to get the things done. Because even if you screw around, win the lottery tomorrow off of a random dream, you still gonna have to sign that paperwork and you still gonna have to pay that tax, don't you? That's the lunar eclipse in Virgo. So I hope this gives you like a little bit of context to where it's like, this is like the real, almost like you're like signing with the universe to be all of what you could be. And it's releasing all the stuff that doesn't relate to that. Hope that gives the last context before we get into this card pull. But yeah, that's what I got for us so far. So we have a few people so far for the lunar eclipse mini readings. I'm going to be going off in these, and I do again have this up as well on my newsletter in terms of this. So if I think it's $5 a month just so you can sign up for the extra stuff, but I'm going to be adding a lot more behind the paywall. Like it's going to be like, it's low-key going to be stupid. For those of y'all who like to read, and I do my best to Capricorn it out and make things as clear as possible. So yeah. All right. I'm gonna get into everybody's right now, but I want to double check. Does anybody have any last questions about the lunar eclipse before I get into everything else? If so, definitely drop that down right now-ish. If you want to get a mini reading too, I know y'all love waiting until the last second, but like, let me know how many I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure. I want to make sure that we're good. You feel me? Okay, let's start to break it down though. So we're gonna start off with Aries. And I'm going to be reading everybody from rising sign. From here on out, moving forward, I know that I was like, oh, check your sun, moon, and your rising sign. Check your rising sign. And because we are also dealing with the lunar eclipse, you could check your moon, you could check your north node, you know. But I need to prioritize the rising sign more than ever because we're really in the energetics of Aquarius season, and that is who you are. So let's start off with the rising sign. So anyone who's an Aries rising, this first card is going to be for y'all. Let's see what's pulling up, right? Or Aries energy, period. We want to talk about the energetics, right? But lean to your rising. That's more accurate. All right, Aries. Aries, we have the Ace of Cups. There's this brand new hatching that's coming through from your emotional world. And I need to point this out. Aries, you need to lean more on that dreamer energy that you have versus in the warrior energy that you have. There's this like Aries, you might have typically feel the need to like fight the fight or go about the conflict or push something forward. Right now, this lunar eclipse is like, yo, how do you just feel? Like you gotta like feel into all this, right? If you've been too technical, right? This is also happening in your sixth house. If you've been too technical, if you've been too like you have to like feel how you're feeling. You have to enjoy what it is that you feel, right? If you've been overworking yourself, Aries, that's the other side of this. If you've been overworking yourself, where can you leave room for spirit? Where can you leave room for the universe? Sometimes our best things that we ever need come through us in stillness versus in your fight forward. So I hope that helps, Aries, but that's for you. All right. Taurus. Let's see what's going on for Taurus, right? Taurus is happening in your fifth house, by the way. Let's see what's pulling up. Taurus. All right, Taurus, we have the Five of Pentacles. And I want to point this out real quick. This lunar eclipse is giving you a dark night of the soul kind of feeling. You're over there searching. It's not necessarily the dark. Oh, no, it is. I lied. I'm sorry. It's a dark night of the soul. In Taurus, part of why things are getting a little bit darker, especially as you're like about to step into the springtime, is because it's like there's this need to reflect on your older manifestations that didn't work out. Like the older manifestations that you had and that you thought were supposed to be your world and didn't work out. There's a big release happening behind that. Now, this isn't one of those situations to where you should blame yourself moving forward or be like, oh, I should have known better. What this is, though, is trying to remind you that like when Taurus season comes back around, like when all this comes back around, you need to step back into like the fun of things. I think what's going on is that it's like y'all have been so caught up in the structure and the building and, oh, I'm doing this, I'm getting the games, I'm getting this, but it's like, yo, when have you just enjoyed yourself? When have you just had some fun? When have you just like said, F all this, let me just like go out? So Taurus, you need a change. You need a mix up. I think that if you've been like in the house doing all this other stuff and feeling the feels, you need to make that shift. You need to do something different and give it a shot. That's my 2 cents on that, if nothing else, right? So hopefully that helps as well, Taurus, right? Cool. Gemini, let's get it. Gemini, this is gonna be happening in your 4th house. So let's see what's pulling up for Gemini with this lunar eclipse. Gemini, we have the 9 of chalices, right? Or 9 of cups. And there's a new completion. There's some, I'm gonna put this, right? Because when I look at this card specifically, it's like there's something that's going on, Gemini, to where it's like you have to see the completions that you've already gone about, especially when it comes to your emotive world. I'm kind of riffing here, but it's like when it comes to your emotive world, Gemini, you have to like really see what you've been feeling, because I think that there's some gunk there that's going on that's leading you to overthink and overanalyze and like speak wrongly to a situation. And I think what's going on with this lunar eclipse is that it's like it's going to help you kind of get your head in gear. It's going to help put your heart and head in order and put them together so that the Gemini twins are in a synthesis rather than not. That's kind of what I got for that, Gemini. There's this definite need to like get back into that emotive world and remember what you're doing it for. I think it's really coming up right now. That's what I got for you. Okay. So this is going to be for Cancer. All right. Cancer rising, etc. And this is going to be happening in your 3rd house, right? Let's get it. So for Cancer, we have the 10 of Cups, right? This is a wish fulfillment that is going on. This is a happening. This is an understanding. This is like the things that you first try to go for are finally coming true. But I don't think that y'all have fully released the old world that told you it couldn't happen. So I think what's going on for y'all, Cancer, is that like y'all actually have low-key achieved the initial dream that you aimed for. And I think the lunar eclipse is going to show you like, yo, you did it. And like when that happens, then the other side of it kind of goes where it's like, oh shoot, like I was feeling like this. I didn't see the bigger picture. Like, oh, everything is coming true. Oh, there are greater things that are coming in. Oh, this eclipse is trying to open me up to like more power and more promise and more poise in your day-to-day life, right? This also speaks to your communication as well. People are going to be telling you and kind of giving you the kudos that you've been deserving for a really long time. So that's a really cool shift that's going on for this lunar eclipse for y'all, Cancer. So it's dope. Yay. And y'all will be feeling this lunar eclipse because y'all are ruled by the moon. So I'm glad the moon is whispering their secrets to keep you going. So that's good. Shout out the moon. All right, but Leo, let's get into Leo. For my Leo risings, let's see what's pulling up. Let's see what's happening, right? All right, for Leo rising, see what's up. We have the 7 of Swords here, right? And there's something to me about this to where it's like, this is like I don't want to say a reckoning because that sounds really dramatic, but there is a reckoning that's going on. There's this like, and I'm just going to intuitively go off this, honestly, but there's this like Leo, I think some of the ideas that you've had are like starting to kind of like backfire, or if you had them be so specific, like if you were trying to plot and scheme and move things around, it's not going to go the way you think it is. And because I think what's going on, Leo, is that like y'all have to remember that it's like primarily your shine first that moves the world, not the things you think, not the things that you try to tell people about, not even particularly your dreams, which can be an annoying part, but it's literally just about how you vibrate that make things change. And it's almost as if like Leo, like y'all are trying to convince people logically about how great you are. Y'all are trying to convince people like in their mental space about certain stuff. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like you're supposed to just emanate and then things come to you, right? The sun is having everything in its gravitational orbit because it just chooses to shine. And I think the reminder this lunar eclipse for y'all, especially as this is going through your second house, is like, oh, you're worried about those finances, you're worried about the money, you're worried about your structure. Well, did you just choose to shine? Well, how are they going to come through and help you if you chose not to shine? That doesn't make any sense. That's kind of what's happening there, Leo. So hopefully that gives y'all some insight into like what's been going on and what's been maneuvering in that regard. So yeah, that's my take for y'all. All right, let's get it. Moving forward, we got Virgo, right? Much love back to y'all. Awkward rising here. This eclipse is happening in the 8th house and had a fun day yesterday and feeling like a hook. Hey, if you live, you ain't no shame in the game. Do what you love and you never work a day in your life. That's all I got to say. All right. So let's get over to Virgo, right? This is for you, Virgo. Lunar eclipse in Virgo. Let's see what's going on. How this eclipse impacting y'all. Queen of Swords. Let's go. All right. Listen, Virgo. Y'all are actually getting it together. All the time that you spend trying to get it together and sometimes it not working, this is you just leaning into what you think and it finally gets itself together. Virgo, your critical thinking skill is your greatest asset, right? Your ability to be able to like analyze and hyperanalyze things at such a microsecond and microscopic level is insane if you use it properly. And I think what the Queen of Swords is trying to do is make sure that you use it properly in your life for things that are actually important. Because like Virgo can sit there and kiki and gossip and talk like as much as they want to. Like, did you hear so-and-so had a bad date with them? Oh, such lizards. What were their sign? Or you can be on the side of like, hey, I really pushed my ideas out into the world that I cared about. And now I'm getting results from them. Now people are really wanting to like know more where I'm coming from. They want to invest in what I'm doing, right? That sounds a little better, doesn't it, Virgo? But this is actually releasing behind the fears of stepping into that knowledge and understanding. So that's good. That's good. Let me see. Okay, cool. So that's for Virgo, right? Happening in the first. So let's get over to the next one. We're going to be talking about Libra, right? Hi. Okay, cool. Let's keep it moving, right? So now we're getting over into Libra. So what do I have for y'all? For Libra, this is going to be happening in your 12th, by the way, right? Specifically the rising, but you know, feel what you want to feel. So Libra, we have the Empress card. I adore getting the Empress card for Libra because I really think that like Libra's height is the Queen of Queens being the Empress, in my personal opinion. If I'm looking at the storyline archetypes of the tarot, that's my personal thought. Some people think it's Taurus. I can understand. But I think specifically when it does get to the actual portion of this energy for you, Libra, is like you have always had the crown. That's the best way I could put it, right? It's like Libra, you traded in your crown for a tiara because it was cuter, right? When it was time for you to go to the prom, you ended up grabbing just the regular thing instead of the decorated queen, you know, like the more fancy thing, right? And I think one thing to kind of point out, Libra, is like your want to kind of like undermine your own beauty and passion to fit in with others is actually becoming your detriment, because like you're supposed to like give example as to like how other people kind of operate from that energy. Like you are the example. And I know a lot of times Libra's like, oh, but like we don't have, or like we're the one thing that doesn't have a sign in the zodiac. It's like, okay, exactly. So if you want to use that capacity and understanding of things, right, You really have the capacity to change and to switch the core of how people have been seeing and viewing themselves by you honoring how much you love you and your beauty and all this other stuff. So if you don't do that, people might fall off. And it's going to be a really spiritual understanding of it. So just, it's not about, again, it's not about like you changing stuff up. It's not about you putting on a specific set of makeup. It's about you. It's not about anything you do. It's just about you. Hope that gives some context. Sorry for shaking this, but you know. Okay. So now we're going on to Scorpio, right? Scorpio, this is going to be happening in your 11th, by the way, right? Your house of networks and networking and all that stuff. Let's see what's pulling up. So we have the 9 of Swords for you, right? There's something like, there's this like, how do I put this? I feel like Scorpio, y'all are hitting the panic button for some reason. Like I think like Scorpio, y'all be emotional. Love y'all. Y'all be emotional crash outs. Y'all are great as people. But like, man, sometimes y'all just be like, let's break this down. And I think what's happening, Scorpio, if I'm being transparent with y'all, I think y'all are starting to see that you have to make a splash. I'm gonna use one of the most famous Scorpios I can think to give you an example, right? Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean gave us Blonde and then disappeared, and we haven't seen him since. Correction, he makes like bejeweled sex objects now and stuff. I'm pretty sure he does. I think that's what he does with his life. The most Scorpio thing he could do: disappear, take all the money, screw over the record industry, make cock rings is all. But regardless of that, the reason why I want to like actually point this out in terms of like Frank Ocean and the Scorpio portion of things is because it's like, yeah, I think y'all are feeling a similar tension to like before bro literally like dipped out of his contract and did what he did to the recording industry. And for those of y'all who do know, Frank ended up basically putting out a fake album. It's still a really good album, but he put out a fake album to end off one of his big record deals that was screwing him over. And then immediately afterward, he ended up putting out his actual magnum opus underneath his own label and name. And so he was free from his contract, did everything else like that, and the most famous one became one of his greatest works. I think Scorpio, y'all might be in the middle of like pulling off a certain like heist in your world, but this is that nervous part in between where you're like, oh my God. You'll know more about his solar eclipse is the best way I'll put this to you, Scorpio. And I know that if you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'll just leave it at that. Your secret is safe with me. But that's what's going on with that, Scorpio, right? Cool. Let's move it forward. I know I'm just going through it today in terms of this, but like, it's that Virgo energy feeling, you know what I'm saying? I told you I'll be tapping into whatever. We're talking about the lunar eclipse at Virgo. Here I am, you know? All right. I got you, Heather. I see you. Bet. Oh, shoot. The cars are hopping now. All right, Sagittarius. Let's see what we got for you. Sagittarius. Let's see what's popping up. It's coming through, right? This is going to be happening for you, Sag, in the 10th house space, specifically for rising. Sag, we have the 6 of Wands. I love the 6 of Wands as a card because it's like, the 6 of Wands reminds you that the only path is forward, right? There's a quote that I love where it's like, the only way out is through. I don't really love the quote as much as it's true. You know, it's like the only way out is through. Right. And I think one of the situations that's kind of going on, Sag, is that it's like you're still like you're just trotting along, doing the same type of stuff. And I think that there's been a lot of like maybe doubt that's either coming from you or there's been doubt that's been happening in terms of like what you're going to be doing in terms of like success or in terms of like money or career. Right. I even said, as your resident Sag earlier on, I'm like, yo, a lot of stuff's about to change. Like, I feel it, right? So if you're a Sag rising, this goes triply as much to you, low key, because that's like the change that's going on. And like your career is going to start to open up. The legacy you're aiming for is going to start to make more sense. But the only way to really start to dig into legacy is keep on keeping on. And that's my biggest suggestion is like, just push that thing forward and things are going to open up for sure. Cool. All right, this is for my not my Capri Suns, my Capricorn energy people. All right. So this is going to be happening in your 9th house, Cap. We have the Judgment card. Capricorn, this lunar eclipse in Virgo is going to make you a king or take you from your kingdom. And I don't mean this in a negative sense. I mean this in a sense of like there's going to be like a legitimate shift that happens, right? Whenever I picture the Judgment card, I actually did a short form video on it for Keen, which is my other job, the Keen Psychics. So I ended up, they wanted to have me do a Judgment card video to tell people about it. So if you want to get even more insight, check that out, right? But the Judgment card situation is you, like, it's like the sky opens up, God's hand comes down and says, hey, you, and you're like, huh? And it's like, do this thing. And you're like, okay. So you're going to be feeling like a really huge change from this eclipse, specifically the lunar eclipse one. So I hope that this gives you some context where it's like, if you're feeling the pressure, Capricorn, it's because you're supposed to expand into that pressure, because pressure makes diamonds, and that's what y'all do. Now, this is specifically going to be happening to you in the way that you think and the philosophies that you have on life, in the way that that all goes, right? So I hope this gives you a little bit more context into how this works, because you're going to be really stepping up to this. You know what I'm saying? Liv said, funny enough, I was watching a documentary last night about the beginning of Egypt and learned something disappointing yet interesting. I'm going to tell y'all something right now, and I'm going to keep it a stack with y'all, and I'm going to say this one time, and I'm going to say it one time. The Egypt we get taught is absolute bullshit. It is crock. It is the worst shit in the world. If you want to learn about actual Egypt, if you want to learn about the actual power that's behind it, Egypt is the Black Land. Kemet. Kemet. If you want to learn about actual Egypt, the real astrologers, the first ones, look that up. When you can barely find info on it, that's when you know you're getting to the right space. Trust me when I tell you. Anyway, I just had to say that one time. The Black Land. They can't rewrite our shit. Most of the Egyptian stuff that you hear or see about is after the, what era is it called? 1 second. There was an era that occurred. Can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. But basically the entire thing was to assimilate and colonize everything that they liked from every other country into Greek culture, which is why the Greek gods exist in the first place, because they are still derivatives. Now, granted, same energetic. I'm not going to take that away, because all of the gods of lore in general are still from the same energy, which is why when I talk about astrology, I'm talking about everything, right? Anyway, enough about that. I started feeling the type of way, but I'm like, that's not at you. This is at society at large, right? Whenever I see the back of a dollar bill with that pyramid, I get a little pissed off. It's a little disrespectful. That's all I gotta say. But on the real though, if you do want to look that up and you do want to know stuff like that, search up Kemet. It's a very different conversation about a lot of things. For sure. 100%. Okay. Yeah, so we mainly about the middle and the end of Egyptian times. And yeah, when they started talking about the dynasties and stuff like that, you got to remember that like 6,000 years beforehand, Egypt had been that thing. I will get into that at a different time, but I just wanted to point that out because it's eclipse season and I'm very passionate about it, and I'm willing to argue. Sorry if that hurts your ears, my bad. But yeah, let's get into Aquarius now, right? So Aquarius, this is happening for you. And this is happening for you in your 8th house, Aquarius, right? All right, Aquarius, King of Chalices. So Aquarian, y'all have been in your emotional era. And I think it's really interesting because I was trying to tell y'all about this. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, but before Pluto went into Aquarius, for real, I kept telling Aquarians, I'm like, literally your emotions are the key to everything. And it seems as though some of y'all listen, because the King of Chalices really speaks to like honoring your emotions, right? This is the feeling that a Drake song is supposed to give you, right? There's this like, oh, like there's something mystical and something, you know what I'm saying? Like there's this feeling that's coming through Aquarius. And I think people are starting to be drawn to you because of your emotional complexity. It's almost like you thought that everyone would love you for your mind and how much you know, and no one cares about that. They want your emotional complexity. They're like, why do you have to wipe your fork off every time you use it? Aquarius, why do you scratch your ear every time you lie to someone? Aquarius, you've been wearing that same different shirt every Thursday since I've known you. Why? All of those little quirks and stuff like that, the real emotional capacity of why you do those things is the real answer as to your success. So like, take that as you will. Keep letting that freak flag fly, for real, for real. And that's a no judgment. That's just like, let your actual like oddity and the odd parts about you become that strength. That's all I got. And last but certainly not least, we got my widow fishes. Pisces, right? So for Pisces, let's see what we got. For Pisces, we have the star card, Pisces. Yay. Pisces, y'all about to be everywhere. Like on some real Pisces. Pisces, y'all about to get the Leo treatment. Y'all are about to get the Leo treatment. Cause like while Leo is figuring that out on some other part, like Pisces, y'all are kind of like stepping in. Y'all or if Leo's the main character of the show, Pisces, y'all have been the understudy and you were like half studying the whole time because you're like, well, Leo's so great, I don't have to go on. And now they're making you go on and they're like, well, just say the words. You've been studying, right? And you're like, I'm just gonna make some stuff up and hopefully it works. And the funny part is that it does. So Pisces, like, don't like, this is also in your 7th house. So in your relationships and stuff like that, people are gonna be calling you and wanting stuff to do with you and asking you questions and everything else like that. Your stock is up. Make sure they pay you properly. Well, that too. But one of the things that's really going on with this, right, is that like the 7th house portion of things is that relationships are potentially open up as well. So the star card speaks to, if you want to get in the dating world, stop playing coy. Like a koi fish. Stop playing coy. Like stop. No. Stop playing like koi fish with the pice. No, nobody. Let me stop. But that is the whole entire zodiac in terms of this. I hope that you have all enjoyed thus far the quick breakdowns of everything. I really just want to get into mini readings, honestly. I've just been hyped to do those because it's just fun. It's like, this is so fun to me. It's cool to be able to do it and you know, just show love. So appreciate y'all for real. Okay. Lunar eclipse transmission done. But let's do the mini readings now. And we have Heather first, right? So shout out to you, Heather. Much love to you. You know what I'm saying? I'll read intuitively. I got you. Screw it. Let's see what's pulling up, right? The Emperor card. Heather, you are that gal, but you're not just that gal in the I'm just chilling and just brushing my hair. You're that gal in a way where it's like, nope, I'm taking all of this. Nope, this is my power. Nope, snatching all that up. Nope, this is mine. Heather, this is like a really strong part of things. And I think this is actually your Scorpio rising really stepping in. We actually talked about that last time. Yeah, last time we met, we talked about it actually. So look at that. But I was about to say the Emperor card in this capacity, this is really you stepping into that like Scorpio rising nature to things, right? It's funny because in the past part, the King of Pentacles is in the past position. And I think this is you really understanding, and ironically, and even to kind of piggyback on that conversation that we had prior, this is you really understanding your position of things. This is you understanding your power of things. You know how you can make things a difference. You know how you can step up and concretely make a change. You know how to do all of those things. And it's not something difficult for you to do. Like, this is a knowing and an understanding. What's up, Lo? How you living? Getting into the middle part, right? We have the Ace of Chalices, right? So what's going on for you, Heather? Ironically, you've actually hit it. You've done it. You've hit a spiritual, genuine ascension on an emotional level, right? And I want to almost point out to the combination of these things that it's like you have crowned yourself king. You have crowned yourself, I would say, the king of your domain, because you are also going to be putting a forced out into the world. Now, here's what I have to point out to you. Remember how you're talking about that breakthrough? You're like, yo, I've been having smoke for everybody. This is the Tower card, but I don't think this is you. I think this is everybody who tries to step into your path talking crazy. I don't think that's you. I literally hear sirens right now. I don't think they should mess with you. literally hearing sirens. Well, I don't think they should mess with you right now, because the Tower card really speaks to like, yo, y'all want to mess with me? Here's how I'm blowing open your reality. Here you go. And it's like, yo, but it's really one of those anybody can get it things. Like you're going on your Kendrick GNX tour, right? You've been listening to a little too much Jadakiss, but it's okay though. It's okay though, because you can still push those energies forward, right? So I hope that gives you some context for real, in terms of everything, right? Yeah, dope. Cool. That's for you, Heather. Let's get it. And so I think I have one more after this. Yes. And that's for you, Dion. Shout out to Dion. Dion be here for real. Good luck. All right. So with the eclipse coming, what advice or guide can you offer in this surrendering and recentering season of your life? Say less. Okay. And you've been dealing with a lot of water energy. So let's see what pops up as I pull for this right now, Dion. I know that you also read for yourself, but trust me, there is a time where you have to like also reach out. So I'm glad that you're also doing that, because every person that does tarot needs another tarot reader. Every astrologer needs another astrologer. Every therapist needs another therapist. That's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Living and loving. Thanks for the reminder. You will be reminding people. I think you post like the happiest looking selfie the other day, and I was like, wow, look at them go. I be just liking seeing people happy. I'm like, oh, look at you. It's beautiful. Keep doing your thing, you know? But yeah, let's see what's going on in terms of you, Dion. Let's hop in. Okay. Bow. Okay, let's get it. Dion, Queen of Wands. This is a good sign. This is the overarching theme, right? What I love about the Queen of Wands is very Rihanna-esque, right? I also just love Rihanna, and I will mention her any chance I get, respectfully. But if we were in the future and I told somebody I was Rihanna and Rocky's kid, no one would doubt me. The more you know. Anyway, if y'all want to adopt me, I guess y'all could buy stuff, I guess. But you know, the sun went brighter as you said that. Say less. Sorry, Dion. Back to you. I feel like every time I talk, it's because you're a Gemini, Dion. It's that Gemini energy in you. 1 second. Yep. I was like, every time I'm about to read for Dion, I feel like I start yapping a little bit more. I'm like, it's the Gemini I'm getting. Okay. This makes sense. All right. Same. Definitely Queen, right? So this is a very Rihanna-esque energy. Back to the actual topic, right? And the reason why, even better, Rihanna actually has been working on an album this entire time. And I want to point this out because it's like, she's been working on this album. Think about everybody who was tripping out about like, oh, she hasn't released any new music. She's been working on an album this whole time. She's just having fun. She still goes to the studio. She still does all that other stuff. Why? Because it's at her pace. It's at her pace. She gets to choose when y'all want it or not, right? Like she can. Oh, here y'all go. What? When did this come out? Oh, I've been working on it for the last 10 years. You just had no idea because y'all were so in my crap. I decided to keep my passion over there. That's the Queen of Wands. She's like, y'all don't have a handle on my passion. Y'all don't have any claims on the energy I put out here, right? So the other side to this, to open this up, 3 of Chalices. So you've been entering into like a joyful type of era. You know what I'm saying? It's been a joyful type of era. There's been new things that are like coming through into your world in this regard. And so there's like a celebration, and not just celebration. You have the Wheel of freaking Fortune. Things are turning around for the better. Congratulations. Whatever work that you've been doing. And I know that you've been pulling through for the last few months, if I'm not mistaken. But within those last few months of you like pulling through and everything else like that, congratulations. You've been doing the background work. I know you ain't just been watching me. I know you've been cooking. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of those situations to where it's like now, especially as a summertime and springtime starting up, getting the Wheel of Fortune. Because that's you like really pushing those things forward in terms of the energetic. And not only that, you have the Knight of Chalices, the Knight of Cups, right? And the main thing about the Knight of Cups is that the Knight of Cups knows how to just like emotionally shoot their shot, right? And what I mean by emotionally shoot their shot is like, I'm gonna use a quote from my homie, which I think is funny. He had this thing that he used to do when he was younger and more of a crash out, right? But he would be like, "Yo, I want to do something that's like ridiculous, right?" And so if someone was like, "Hey, you can't do that thing," he would go up to him, but he's like, "But it's always been my dream." And then they would fold. And I think that's all like, man was like, like, "Yo, why did you just jump up on the top of that building?" And he's like, "It's always been my dream." The reason why that's so funny is because like emotionally, you hear that and you're like, "Oh, wow, that's okay. That's profound. That's a little bit different, right?" And so I think what's coming up, honestly, for you, Dion, is that like, again, the words that you speak and the words that you know and the language that you have is great. But this is, again, getting us back into this emotional end. And I'm sure y'all have seen this throughout this whole time. I'm like, emotions, your feelings, letting go. Like, all these things have been pulling through. But for you specifically, Dion, you're going to be leaving this a little bit smoother, a little bit with more understanding, a little bit, oh, God, you're going to have a little more swag to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we out here. I've been doing the work. I've been doing the work, and the work been paying off, right? That's the real vibe that's coming through, Dion. So congratulations. Good work on all that. You're doing your thing. Dope. But yeah, tell y'all I wasn't trying to do like a super long one today in terms of this whole live stream because Virgo enjoys to be succinct. But I do appreciate each and every one of y'all being here, pulling up, liking and coming through in my various astrological moods as I explain different things. But yeah, much love to each and every one of you. Make sure y'all pull through for some readings if y'all want to. Stay on the lookout. I'm doing some other cool stuff that I will talk to y'all about soon. But yeah, aside from that, much love to each and every one of you. Stay up, stay beautiful, and don't let the world get you down. And turn your TV off. Turn your TV off.